Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should have. Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I could have. Little things I should have said and done, I just never took the time. You were always on my mind, always on my mind. You were always on my mind. Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out the beautiful Elvis ballad, Always on My Mind. What an amazing tune this is. Lots of different approaches you could take on this one. You could strum it, you can do it fingerstyle. I'm going to show you a basic kind of strumming pattern. I'm just using the flesh of my thumb rather than using a guitar pick, because for me the guitar pick sounds a little bit harsh on this one. It's quite nice to just get a round sound. If I grab a pick here and it just sounds like, oh, it's getting a bit brittle to me anyway, but you can choose how you do it, you know, for sure. But I think the fleshy part of your thumb for all down strums it really works nice. So before we start looking at the actual chord sequences, I just want to take you through some of the chords, because there might be one or two here that are unfamiliar. The first chord is G. You can either play kind of regular old G, you could use the one with all four fingers, you could use the one just using fingers 3 and 4. It doesn't really matter, whatever G you feel most comfortable with. The second chord is D with an F sharp bass. Now, for a real beginner, you can just change it to regular D. You don't need to worry about the bass note. When you see a slash chord, like in this case it'll be D/C sharp, all it's saying is the bass note is after the slash chord. It's still just a regular old D chord, but we've changed the bass note. Now, I prefer to play that bass note, the F sharp bass note, by grabbing over with my thumb and playing the 2nd fret of the thicker string. Okay, that's how I like to do it. But I couldn't do that for the first 10 years I played guitar. I couldn't reach over and grab any of the bass notes. I was a bit slow off that, you know. I've really found it difficult. So the other option, you can either just play a regular D, or you can grab the bass note there, or you can re-finger it, which is the way that I used to do it most often, which is from a regular D chord, move your 2nd finger to where 1st finger was. That's the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then reach over with your 1st finger to play the bass note, which is 2nd fret thicker string. That's almost certainly going to mute the 5th string, which is fine, you want that. Then open D string, 2nd fret, 3rd fret on the 2nd string, and the thinner string again is almost certainly likely to be muted by the other fingers, and that's fine. So that would be kind of, it's a nice option if you're going to use that one to go from the 4-fingered G. It makes it easier because you've got your 3rd finger there as an anchor. Okay, don't have to do it that way. That's what I'd recommend. You got E minor, which most of you should know, but then we've also got an E minor 7. Now to get to the E minor 7, you've got two options again. You can either lift off 3rd finger to reveal the open D string, which is the one I think sounds nice in this song, but you could also add little finger in the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. That's another nice way of getting that E minor chord. It's up to you which one you prefer to do. C to D. The other chord that is, there's a couple in the pre-chorus that are a little bit different. So the first one is a C chord with a B bass. Now, from starting with a regular C, what you want to do is just move 2nd finger over to the 2nd fret of the 5th string. There's C, then 2nd finger moves over to the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and you're going to strum the same chord. You probably want to mute the 4th string. It'll probably happen. The underneath of your 2nd finger is very likely to mute the 4th string anyway. That's your C chord with a B bass. You've got A minor chord, and then the next chord is this C with a G bass. Now the easiest way to think of it, especially as it's coming from the A minor chord anyway, leave your A minor chord but move the 3rd finger over onto the 3rd fret of the thicker string. Okay, that would be your C chord with a G bass. You could also call it an A minor 7 with a G bass. Again, I've used that same grip with a different name, because sometimes you can choose different names for stuff depending on the context. So in this case we've got A minor and then a C chord with a G bass, D, E minor, D with an F sharp bass, G, A minor, G with a B bass. Okay, so we've got one more slash chord here. This is a slash chord fest, this one. G with a B bass. Very, very nice chord for linking A minor and C chord. What we want to do with that one is start with the 2nd finger in the 2nd fret of the 5th string. That'll probably, you won't be able to help it, but it's good to mute the thickest string as well. We don't really want to hear the thickest string. So muted, 2nd fret, open, open, and then little finger down in the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and nothing on the thinner string. Again, that should be muted. That's the way that I find easiest, going A minor, G with a B bass to C. Some people prefer to play it with the 1st and 3rd fingers. Okay, so using 1st finger, 2nd fret, 5th string. Again, the tip of that finger muting the thickest string. Middle 2 strings open, and then the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. You can choose to do it that way as well. And I think all of the rest of the chords are pretty standard. If there's any that I haven't mentioned anyway, I don't think there is. So let's start talking about the chord sequence. So let's go through a playthrough now, and we're just going to go back to the regular, just 4 down strums to the bar, keeping it really, really simple. I'm going to do it quite slowly, and I'm going to have to stop and start a bit because there's a few points in here where there's just 1 strum on each chord. So for me to be able to talk the chords and do that is fairly tricky. So I'm going to give you a kind of a talk through the chords first, then I'll do the little singy song version of it that should hopefully help you remember the chord sequences. So the intro is just starting on a G chord for 2 bars. Okay. Then we're into the verse. So we got G chord for a bar, then D with the F sharp bass for a bar, E minor for 2 beats, E minor 7 for 2 beats, then to C, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, now I just want to stop there and make sure we clarify that bar there with the C chord. So the C is on for 3 beats, and then there's just 1 strum of the D7 at the end for beat 4. But what you want to do is make sure that you accent the C chord on beat 3 as well, because you can hear the whole band kind of go C, D. It's really quite an obvious thing. So you end up with this C, 2, C, D, G. Okay, from the verse again. G. Maybe I didn't D with an F sharp bass for a bar. E minor, D minor 7 to a C chord. C, D, back to G. Maybe I didn't D with an F sharp bass to E minor, quite as E minor 7 as A7. A7 there. Now I forgot to mention that in a little chord run through before. If you're not familiar with A7, regular A chord, lift off your 1st finger. So it's nothing on the thicker string, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0. Very easy chord, A. Then we're into the pre-chorus, or the chorus, kind of a pre-chorus chorus thing going on there. We start with a C chord. Little things, I, G chord, said and done. Now here we got C for 2, C with a B bass for 2, A minor for 2, C with a G, B, C with a G bass for 2. Okay, let me take you through that little part as well, because that last part, the actual proper chorus, where he says the key line of the song is even more complicated. So the pre-chorus, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, C, to C with a B bass, to A minor, C with a G bass. Now into the chorus part, we got D for 2 strums, then E minor for 1, D with an F sharp bass for 1, G for 2, A minor, G with a B bass, C for 2, D for 2, back to G for 2, then C, D, and then we're back into the verses again. Let me take you through that one more time through that You Were Always on My Mind part. So it's starting on a D, 2 strums, then E minor, D with an F sharp bass to G for 2 strums, then A minor, G with a B bass to C for 2, D for 2, and then back to G for 2, and then C, D. Okay? Might seem a little bit complicated. It's not too bad because of the tempo of the song. And we play through the pre-chorus chorus now. So C, little things, I, G chord, said and done. C, I just B bass, had the A minor, to the C with a G bass to D. You were E minor, D with an F sharp bass to G, A minor, G with a B bass to C. You were D chord on my G, C, D. Let's go back to the verse. Maybe I couldn't D with an F sharp bass. E minor, quite as E minor 7 as a C chord, C, D, G. maybe I didn't D with an F sharp bass. E minor, quite as E minor 7 as A7, excuse the octave change but I can't get that low. C, little things I G should have said and done. C, I just B bass to A minor, to C with a G bass, then to the chorus. D, you were E minor, D with an F sharp bass to G, to A minor, G with a B bass, C, you were D chord on my G, C, D. And now the other part we've got to deal with now is the middle. So the middle has lots of chord changes again, so I'm going to take you through the chords first, then I'll start singing along the melody as well. So the middle is G for 2, D with the F sharp bass for 2, E minor for 2, E minor 7 for 2, C, C with the B bass, to A minor, to D. Same thing again, G, D with an F sharp bass, to E minor 7, to C, C with a B bass, to A minor, to D, and then we're into the string solo, which was a bar of G, as we'll go through this now as well, a bar of the D with an F sharp bass, E minor, to E minor 7, to A, 2, 3, 4, and then we're into little things I should have said and done, the pre-chorus part there. So one more time, let's go through the middle and I'll do the little singing part. So we're starting on G, tell D with an F sharp bass to E minor 7, C chord that your B bass has an A minor to D, again G to D with an F sharp bass to E minor 7, to C chord to a B bass has an A minor to D, and then to G. Oh my dear, that is so low for me. I definitely, so if you have the same problem as me singing this because it's so low, singing it up an octave is what Elvis does. For me, that's too high and it makes it sound even squawkier and more awful than trying to go too low. So that's exactly the reason that capos were invented, or capos. Just whack a capo down and have a go at singing it. Play the same chords, sing it again. Does it fit your voice better? If not, is it too high or too low? And move the capo around and see where it is that fits your voice. For me, it's kind of a couple up, like 2nd fret, 3rd fret, maybe the 4th fret, depends on how my voice is feeling on any given day. But, you know, try and find the register that works well for your voice if you're going to sing this, especially if you're going to sing it for your partner or something. You want it to be sounding nice and not straining to get too high, or like what's happening to me there in the bridge where it's so low that I just can't get the notes, you know. And when it comes to the rhythm of it, because we've just kept it real simple so far, on the original recording you can hear an acoustic guitar playing just even 8th notes, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All down strums I think works best, so just G, maybe I didn't treat you. Very simple, just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Just on that C to the D bit in the verses, I'd probably give it a little rest on there. Just sounds nicer to kind of accent it with the band. 2, 3, 4. Now just in case you didn't notice, I'm doing a kind of a stronger strum on the beat and just a very lighter one on the bass note on the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and listen. The little ones in between just kind of keep it moving, because if you just do it like that, just sounds a little bit too kind of plain, but putting the extra one in just seems to bring it to life a little bit, you know. Definitely fingerstyle. You can definitely fingerstyle this song, you know. Any fingerstyle patterns that you like. I quite like doing just kind of fairly random patterns, so long as you tend to hit the bass note on the beat where the chord changes, you'll generally be alright. You could make up any other fingerstyle patterns. Just to warn you in advance, where this doing fingerstyle starts to get a bit sticky is in the pre-chorus and the chorus, where there's a lot of chord changes, because you don't have much time to create much of a pattern. So you'll end up kind of blocking the chords there, like playing the bass note and the chord at the same time. So maybe G to D with an F sharp bass, you could do that, E minor, maybe add the minor 7 or the C, D, G, D with an F sharp bass, E minor, A, C, G, C, C with a B bass to A minor, C with a G bass, D, E minor, D with an F sharp bass, G, A minor, G, C, D, G, C, D. Just, it's where those chord changes are really fast that you've either got to drop into strumming. You can do just having the bass note and a note together and then one note in between. That's one way around it. But really, I think you just want to experiment. And I was debating trying to write out a specific kind of fingerstyle pattern. And if you'd really, really like me to do that, and there's loads of comments that I see below the video of people wanting like a fingerstyle arrangement of it, I'll do one. But I think it's just, it's a lot easier to make one up. It's kind of fun, you know, if you've got any sort of fingerstyle pattern. Just the big thing really to remember is to play the bass note with your thumb when the chord changes. Right? If you don't do that, it can sound a little bit wonky. The one exception may be on the E minor. You could hit the one note that changes on the E minor to the E minor 7, where it goes that note, that D. You might want to put that bass note there halfway through the bar, but otherwise you want to stick with putting the bass note on the bottom. I mean, there's so many different approaches to this one. You know, you've heard there's loads of different kind of more electronic versions and stuff. I've seen a great version of this once of a guy just playing one strum on each chord. So he just played, maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should have. Did it like that, and it sounded really good. I mean, this guy had a killer voice. It was like a restaurant thing. But you know, there's loads of different ways of approaching a song like this, and it's a nice thing for you to explore and see what way you feel like playing this tune. So have fun with it. I'll see you for plenty more lessons and songs very soon. Please subscribe to my channel and sign up for the email list on the website if you dig what I do. You take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.